Good morning. Today I would like to share with you why people get stroke. And of course, prevention is better than cure. So I always start with prevention. Now, if you do not know why people get stroke, it's difficult to find solution for prevention. Today, people love to eat food, and most of the food we eat today, they are acidic food. Most of the fried food, and then most of the animal proteins, and then the white bread, food with sugar. A lot of people think that milk is good for us, but do you realize milk is also acidic? And people tend to believe in a lot of medications, and of course medications is also acidic. And what happens if your body is acidic? A few things can happen. Now, our body have a natural healing abilities. Our pH is at 7.35, and when your body is acidic, your body will withdraw calcium from the bone to balance the pH in the body. But during this balancing, you're not only losing calcium in your bone, but the calciums can eventually settle in the inner layer of the blood circulations if we don't have enough exercise. Because when you don't have enough exercise, your heart doesn't pump hot enough. The circulation is sluggish, and we are giving way to all this calcium to settle in the inner parts of your blood vessels. And eventually we call it calcification of our blood vessels, especially at the micro circulation levels. When your blood circulation is being hampered, oxygenation, and then immune system, and of course nutrients is not be able to reach the target cells, especially in the brains. When you have poor blood circulation in your brain, and eventually it can affect the brain function. Now, stroke actually, it takes some time to develop, and it can take about 10 to 15 years to develop. A lot of people don't have signs, and I have a few patients who had a stroke. They don't even have high cholesterol level, but when they have a stroke, and the doctor also was shocked why this patient had a stroke. And one of them actually is my uncle. He always go for regular checkup, and his good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, which is HDL and LDL level, is always within normal range. But one day he had a stroke, and then we realized his poor eating habits that leads to microcirculation blockage, and that was a long-term process. Now, when we know why people get stroke today, other than the poor eating habits, another thing is because we don't exercise. Today I would like to emphasize on exercise. When your body is acidic, your blood is sticky, then if you don't exercise, you're giving way to all this sticky blood to be settled in the inner layer of the blood vessels, especially the microcirculation, and if it's in the bigger blood vessels, then it's even worse, because it causes hardening of the blood vessels, and then the symptoms will arise like what? High blood pressure. High blood pressure is one of the early symptoms, and if you don't control the high blood pressure properly, then because the blood vessel can be brittle due to calcification, or due to a lot of settlements, impurities in the inner layer of the blood vessels, and when the blood pressure raises, then your blood vessel can rupture. That is one of the causes of the stroke. But there is another type of stroke, which is occlusion. Occlusion, which is a blockage, total blockage of the blood circulation. Then, of course, when your brain is deprived of oxygenation, nutrients, and all that, then your brain cells will not function. And that is why It causes malfunction of the cells in the brain, and that leads to stroke. So there are two kinds of stroke. One is bleeding, and the other one is total occlusion of the blood vessels. To emphasize on that again, that is our lifestyle. The food we eat is too much acidic food, and then we also lack of exercise. So based on this, when you know the reason why we get stroke, then we'll try to rectify. So first thing, we tend to eat more fruits and vegetables, more greens, because fruits and vegetables, they can alkalinize our body. And secondly, we try to minimize the acidic food from animal proteins, and exercise, I would say, is essential. And this is the early prevention for stroke. So we have to get this message across to everyone. Thank you.